One.
Hey everybody, this is the Combo Wombo podcast. I'm Chip Monk, and with me as always the Mr. Gimpy.
What's up, Chip?
What's
Damn,
happening,
that was a
man?
smooth intro, dude. It's like
Woo.
you're tuning into KQ 105 smooth jazz.
Yeah, I like how we're living on the wire, dude. Living on a prayer. You didn't even do an audio check before this. You didn't do make sure we're recording.
Dude, we're good.
You're like, we'll figure it out.
We out here, dude. We're fucking rocking without a condom right now, dude. We're just raw
man. No parachute, dude. We gotta land this thing.
Don't need it. Just gotta pull out when it's time, you know.
Yep. Make sure that landing gear is safe and sound when we'll find out when we find out, dude.
Exactly. It's all right.
No pre-flight check. Making it happen, dude.
Let's go.
What you been up to, dude? You've been in that Street Fighter world?
Street Fighter's taking over my life, brother.
Dang.
Which I knew it would.
Yeah.
I haven't decided on a main yet. Typically, I've been a Ken main for life, really. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I love Ken. But I might main DJ in this one.
Wow.
Actually, I've been having a lot of fun with him. He has feints and stuff, so he can kind of fake moves and bait people out. He has a dial-a combo that's kind of like shitty Deadly Rave from King of Fighters and Geese Howard and Rock Howard, and I absolutely love doing the Deadly Rave. It's one of my favorite things because you actually have to, type in a fucking combo as you're doing it for a super special, so it feels more earned, when you pull it off. But DJ is he seems kind of like a jokey character, but he's fucking strong as shit.
Yeah, you've been bodying people with him, or are you just sticking with Ken online?
I've been sticking with Ken online. I haven't taken DJ online yet, but I actually completed his combo trials, which people are like, "Oh, combo trials are actually kind of hard in this." I was like, "Oh." Yeah. So, he has a lot of things that are frame advantage stuff or like juggle stuff.
Yeah.
So,
seems like he's like a higher skill cap character, like but risk reward.
Yeah, exactly. And Street Fighter's done such a cool thing with like traditional charge characters is they've given them like a non-charge move as well to try and like.
That was always a big thing in the past where like people would cancel out before you could charge. Yeah.
So it's been really fun, like kind of learning the new systems and stuff. The drive gauge, and actually, I didn't think I'd be a fan of how the parry system worked because unlike Street Fighter 3, for example, where you have to press forward at the exact moment you're getting hit to get the parry, this one you press like two buttons, kind of like Street Fighter 5, where it had this little parry system. But once you press it, you can actually hold it and just there's like a gauge that kind of just goes down if you're not parrying, and you can just do it. But it's you don't have like as good of a frame advantage, but if you perfect parry, you get an advantage for like a combo going out.
Combo breaker.
And you can, if you get it, you can make it kind of act like a block, but you can cancel out of it and start doing a huge combo. So it's deep, actually. It's actually very deep, I feel. So yeah, man, it's been very rewarding.
You happy with this one, man? You notoriously said how disappointed you were with the last release.
Yes.
Just on release. But
I am happy with it. It actually, I think the fighting games coming out this year Street Fighter has just set a really high bar to reach. Mortal Kombat 1's gameplay trailer came out, and I'm traditionally a Mortal Kombat guy.
Okay.
But
you played was it the last one 11?
I was like, what's that?
What was the last one? 11 that just
11. Yeah, I actually competed in that. I went to I did travel tournaments for that. So
yeah, I played some of that one. That was all right. It felt like a little. I played it on the Switch, so it probably wasn't the best experience.
Yeah,
it felt like a little like more clunky for me.
Yeah, it kind of was by design.
Yeah. It's like more like purpose-filled move sets, but it also like because of that though is like action pause or like pause action. Like it's just I don't know. It didn't have like a great feel, but like again maybe that was like a Switch as well type of thing. A little bit of delay there. I don't know.
Yeah, so I went to Combo Breaker for Mortal Kombat 11. Did 3 online tournaments with it as well. It was fun.
Yeah.
My biggest gripe with it. Excuse me, and why I probably won't take Mortal Kombat seriously for like going like traveling or anything, which I don't know if I'll travel for tournaments anymore, but is the lack of updates that Mortal Kombat 11 had. When I went to Combo Breaker, the game was 4 or 5 months old at that point,
Yeah.
and the character Garrus had just like a very cheeky positive frame like combo that literally
Yeah.
everyone did, and he was pretty
Garrus
strong.
show.
And it should have been nerfed, which it was, but NetherRealm announced that they won't be doing any nerfs until after like the summer or after Evo. So the tournament I went to was before Evo, so I'm like, okay, so we have like half a year of this shitty thing. So then when I get to the tournament, a
Just
good
cheese.
swath of people are using Garrus, and I'm not going to use them just out of self respect, you know, for that.
Sure.
So yeah, and people are like, oh, if you're taking it seriously, you should use the character that's broken like everyone else and give yourself a better chance. Which true, but also it's not in me to do that. You know,
But like also like if you
I
have
gotta
like
beat the cheese.
forward knowledge too of like it's gonna get
Yeah,
like nerfed, it's like you're really just like hurting yourself, kneecapping yourself by like very limited like playing this cheesy character when you're like, oh, by the time Evo rolls around, like he's gonna be completely nerfed. So it's like I'm gonna waste all this time sinking
yeah,
in this bullshit on this guy. Or I could
yeah,
be like mastering like who I really want to main, or
yep,
maybe
yep.
have like a backup.
Yep, exactly, exactly. But overall, though, I had a great time with Mortal Kombat 11. I met some really cool people there that I
Yeah,
still talk to today. And going to some of the tournaments led me to like getting to play Samurai Showdown early, which
yeah,
I absolutely loved. It's a fantastic fighting game. Um, yeah, man, it's been good. But yeah, seeing Mortal Kombat 1, it has like this crazy new like assist system that looked kind of like Marvel vs. Capcom 1, where it's bringing like legacy MK characters in as like assists, or it might even be it looks like they might be doing a tag thing as well, but
all right,
unconfirmed, or it's at least assists like MVC1 is confirmed, but looking at it, some of the animations looked a little stiff, and playing Street Fighter 6, the game is just like presented fucking gloriously, dude, and
yeah.
it's beautiful, and the animations are beautiful, and I'm just
That's
like
it, man. The bar keeps on getting
the
higher,
bar
man.
got raised. Like I'm still gonna
The
get
gauntlet's been
MK1,
thrown.
but yeah, Street Fighter 6, man, it's gonna be my game for a while for fighting anyway. But yeah,
Yeah,
man, yeah, man, thanks for checking up on that, because yeah, like I said, man, this summer I figured my games would be Street Fighter, CS2 whenever that launches, and probably like Rogue Legacy 2, because you got me that, or you got me that game for like Christmas, I think, or maybe I bought
that
it
sounds
myself. I
about
can't
right.
remember.
I
I
don't
think it
know.
was you who got it for me though, because I loved the first game, and we must have talked about that quite a bit on
I
this
think I like
pod.
was going through like people's wish list like on Steam, and
Yeah,
I was just like, oh, I'll just buy something
yeah,
off
yeah,
their
yeah,
wish
yeah.
list.
So that
And then
game
like
is
you
like,
try to do the same for me. You're like, why don't you have any real games out here? It's just a bunch of like shitty software that nobody wants. And I'm like, yeah, bro, that's why it's a wish. You're like, man, keep
it's
dreaming,
true,
bro. And I was like,
it's
fair
true.
enough.
It's true. But yeah, so that game is past version 1.0 right now, so it seems like in a very good state. So I even told my wife, I was like, yeah, we're just gonna, because when I was playing through the first game, it was when we were planning our wedding, actually. So I was working an overnight job, so I would come home, and she would work a morning job. So while I was waiting for her to get dressed, I would just play Rogue Legacy, do like a run, and
Yeah.
then drop her off at work, come back home, go to sleep, pick her up when she got off, or after I woke up. Then we'd go back, I'd play a little bit of Rogue Legacy, then we'd hang out for the day, then I'd go to my night job. But she like fondly remembers that game as well, because it's like an interesting
Yeah.
point in our lives or whatever. She thought it was, and she would always watch me play it. So she's actually excited to see that too. So that was a nice little bit of nostalgia for it, man. So yeah, well,
All right,
shout out
man.
Rogue Legacy devs, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. And then I got some. You sent me that grid overhead thing, so on
What?
Discord for like map like game design
Oh
stuff.
yeah, yeah. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
some
yeah,
just random like dude like had like his almost like a Pinterest of like here's all the map levels. And I'm like, oh shit.
yeah, yeah. Which was pretty awesome. So I dabbled a little bit in Trench Broom Saturday morning, because I
Oh,
was
you're
like
getting serious,
just
dude.
been doing it. So I just like gray boxed almost like a circle arena, just to
Yeah.
see how it worked. Um, Intuitive, fast, and like very fast, and
Yeah,
I can
dude.
see
Like
why it
it's
took over your life. So shout out Trench
dude,
Broom,
it's
dude.
like it just makes fucking sense, dude. Like it like
Yeah.
there's definitely like a bit of a learning curve, like learning like the hotkeys and stuff, like the
Mhm.
shift and like clicking. But like once you get in there, dude, like you just get into a groove and you just like the only downside about Trench Broom is you can't like post a reference. And like I'm using like this plugin or like this not plugin application called Pure Ref.
Okay.
And it lets you like drag and drop images from your computer, then set them transparent, then allows you to put like your mouse through. So like I can so I can have like my main grid and then like a top down and like a side view. Or like I can
like a Maya or
whatever. And then I just like boom, throw pure ref on like that, and then I'm just like boxing out like these like crazy levels like super fast, and I'm like, damn, this is all right. Like
no, I was very impressed with it, and it looks like it exports to like a normal like Quake format, or you can do it as like an object, right? So
I was doing like object exports and going into Blender and then moving it to like engine of choice, but like you can just import directly as an object too. So
no, that's awesome. So I was very impressed, and I can see why you did it. I've had it installed for a while after you mentioned it, but I never really took the time to jump in. Just because I'm still like in my commitment phase, but it was very fun, man. So shout out on that. But dude, you've been grinding in the game dev sphere, dude. Before we get into what's happening in the gaming news and the Apple VR headset, which I really want to talk about. Let's hear about you, man. You just completed another just quick little hitter.
Another one
on the pod. Let's hear it.
Yeah, this was a little bit of like a palette cleanser from like what I've been working on, which is just kind of like tooling stuff. Like I showed you like all the tooling stuff I've been working on for making some sort of 2D game. And you're like, what's this for? And I was like, it's nothing, bro. I'm just doing this shit for the love of the game. I'm just out here really doing the damn thing. I don't like I've been like just trying to learn more about like modular scriptable things that can like scale, just simple like things where it's like instead of like rewriting code a bunch of times, how can I make it as simplistic as possible and like have a wide berth of application that can like scale like through like hundreds of units, because like that's like the pack I got off itch.io is like literally hundreds of units, and I'm like, I don't want to like go in here and code each of these dudes. And I was like, how can I make it so I can have like basic shit like stats and health bars and stuff? Like I think I'm using like interfaces maybe, or maybe it's inheritables. I don't know, one of them is like the one that's like eye damageable, eye attack type of thing, and it's like you set up like a main class and everything inherits that. Sounds like inheritances, but I think it's interfaces. Like it's confusing me. But so I was doing that,
so
just learning that
classes and subclasses stacked, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
And then so I've been doing that, and then I was like, man, I need something I can do, and I was like, let me make that snake game I've been talking about for years. I've been thinking about for years. I was like, it's just a match 3 snake. So then I did that, bro. I put that out there. I thought it would take me a day. I was like, this will be easy, barely an inconvenience. Yeah, I was fucking wrong, bro. It was like it got way more convoluted, way more hard than I would like to admit here, but I'm gonna admit it. It took me like basically a whole week. Like, and I know what most people are thinking. It's like Snake, that's a pretty easy game. Like you should be able to like write like just that in like 100 lines of code. And I was like, sure, I got like the basic movement stuff down. I got like an actual Snake game working in about like 180 lines of code. But then like when you try to add the match 3 on top of that should start getting like disgusting. So then I like added up to like 500-600 lines of code. I was like, all right, why am I doing this all in a player movement script? Let me break this off into like, simpler scripts.
All in one. Okay. That's
and like things were like breaking. Like it doesn't like if you're like to get the last position, I'll send a position in a list, and then like the first object you pick up would inherit that position. But then like at a certain point, I was like making it so they have to like match length. So it was getting like null reference returns, and then like at another point, like it was like kept pushing back like the player's 0 position, so I'd end up with like a weird gap that would move through the snake as you deleted things. And it was a pain in the dick, dude. Like if I could redo it again, like lessons learned is like I would set it all up so it just uses a grid and like keeps a list of that grid objects and then like moves through that instead of what I did, which was like I had like a grid, creates the grid, the player moves on that grid every tick. You pick up a thing and then like it updates like where that object is on the last tick, but the player has like a list of objects and a list of positions. So the every position inherits like the last position from the last object on the snake tail. It ended up working. It's all in 3D as well. Like,
what? So to preface this, I played it. I played the game like a good number of times. It's in 3D. What?
Yeah,
it's literally a 2D game that apparently is in 3D. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's all like 3D objects and stuff. Like at a certain point, like early on in development, I wanted it to be like I don't know if you're probably all too young to remember this, but the Qbert, where it's like
no one's
a bunch of
remember Qbert. He was on Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, all right. So he moves like Qbert notoriously moves like on squares, like down like a cascading square thing. And so I had that in early. Yeah. Yeah, dude, he's known for it. He's kind of known for it, dude.
Okay.
He moves on like these like weird the way they did back in 2D is like it's an illusion of like shapes but like I could actually use like real 3D things. So I had it where like the snake could move up like the grid, like those walls, like early on you could climb up on them, and then like I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And if I hit it like Qbert where like I can move along like a pyramid, and then like the camera like rotates along, so you're like moving in like 3-dimensional space. I got most of that working, but like end of the day, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? This isn't my snake game I envisioned. I was like, I got
feature creeped.
Yeah, I got feature creeped on a snake game, dude. Like I played myself. I was like, man. So yeah, going back, starting over, I would just all 2D right from the jump on a grid manager, and then like another list for positions, and then maybe something to like add and remove, and then something to pick up the combos and keep track of that as well. Like that also like ended up being a feature creep where like I got like most of the stuff done, and I was like, all right, I need to actually have a score. So then I added like a score, and then I was like, all right, well, I have a score. I need to, make it so like if you get a combo, it needs to be a bigger score than like, if you get that match. And then after I got the match score, and I was like, well, if you got 2 matches in a row, that should be more points. And I did that. And then like, I had to do like balancing. There's balancing in the snake game. It's things you wouldn't think of because like it updates
when like the right color spawns, right, and stuff like that.
No, not even that. I don't even play with that. That's all like a third of a chance, no matter what. It's based on random probabilities. What you play with is like the player's movement speed and then the rate of spawn of objects. So you want to keep that balance. So what I initially had to do was just like go down like on like a straight linear line.
Yep.
And then like it would go down to like 150 milliseconds, and I was like playing that, and that'd be by like level 10, and I was like, damn, this game's getting fucking hard as shit. And then so I looked up like online, I was like, what's the average reflex time of people? It's like 300 milliseconds, and I was like, all right, so I made a game that's like by level 10, it's only like appealing to like the top 10% of people with like reflexes. And I was like, all right, I need to like have this more of a curve, like a slow curve, so I'd have it like move down like a certain amount up until level 10, then from 10 to 15 like a certain bit, and then like after level 15 you're like entering the realm of like the gods, where like it just goes down to like 150 milliseconds and doesn't decrease past that. So it's like only people like super crackerjack timing can get up and keep
traditionally
going.
Snake does cap you on speed.
Yeah.
Well. So I mean it's good. I don't think it's at 150 milliseconds. It's ridiculous, but
yeah, dude, but it's the new generation. Is these kids the TikTok generation, dude? You gotta. And also, like a lot of people will tell you this as well. Is like when you're playing your game, like you get good as fuck at your game.
That's your own game, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like by the time like I was like at 150 milliseconds, I was like, I crash in the walls some of the time. Like I was like, I was like, will this be challenging for normal people? And then I had to look it up, and I was like, oh shit, I've been training my reflexes to like
mastering it.
Yeah, dude. So yeah. So I had like a week of just like playing nonstop Snake. So I don't know, it was fun. There's a lot of different like design challenges you don't necessarily think about when you have such a simple game of like balance, of like feature creep, and then like by the time I was at the end of it, I was like, I can make a better Snake game on 2D grid. And I was like, no, just this is done. Like if people like play it and enjoy it, then like maybe consider like making like a part 2 where I can add like the full 3D effect of like movement around like objects and stuff. Or like maybe it could be like on a sphere based like Mario Galaxy style thing, but like I don't think people give a fuck about Snake, dude. Like, it's like something I enjoy.
I was like really at this moment. But man.
They ruin everything.
We grew up on the generation with the Nokia phones, and the only game in the town was Snake. So
bro, your brickouts and your
like
snakes.
Sometimes it amazed me, like the high scores that some people had on their Nokia phones. I'm like, God damn, you were bored.
Yeah, dude.
Like how?
It's crazy.
That's what it is. But dude, that's awesome. Congrats on another completed project, dude.
Thanks, man. Oh, then like one other cool thing I found was like somebody made some sort of like MIDI AI 8-bit, 16-bit sound generator.
Yeah.
So I use that for the music. Yeah. Nice. So like I looked up like Tetris, and I was like, what's the scale it's using? Yeah, I was like, what scale is it using? And then like what are the BPMs? And then I set it to that, and I was like, man, this sounds like a really good Eastern Bloc Euro trash fucking beat, dude. I was like, it knew exactly like what I was going for, and I was like, all right, this is nice.
That's
yeah, it's like I should probably generate more songs, but I was like, again, I was like feature creep. I was like, oh, now I'm gonna need to make like a song manager and a playlist. Yeah, and I'm like, I was like, most people are gonna play this, pick it up, play it, maybe a couple of times and put it down.
Yeah, to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
You could have done what Tetris did and just have like 4 songs and then the person could pick. That way you don't have to deal with the playlist. Just a thought.
Facts,
feature
man.
creep,
dude. That's a menu. That's like a song manager. That's like another thing, dude. Then I'd have to have like a start screen, dude. I don't even have a start screen on this, dude.
That's true.
You just get right into the action.
But yeah, dude, like I said, man, congrats on another completed project, man. You're still grinding and you're keeping it going, man. That's very inspiring and it's great.
Yeah. And then I also, after this project finished, I got this other thing. I had to just pull it up. It's an open source thing. It's kind of like Trello. It's called Focal Board. So I was like, maybe I should use this to help manage my next project so it doesn't get so out of control.
Yeah. I mean, do you use Trello? Because I have Trello still that I can add you to if you'd like, or if you want to use Focus Board, that's fine. But
yeah, I'm just using this Focus Board. It's like free. It runs locally. It does the exact same thing where I just like drag and drop things like movement, task, all this stuff. It also has like a calendar feature in there as well. So I can have it like set up a calendar and be like, on this day, I want to complete this task or whatever you're doing.
Gotcha. So for anyone who doesn't know, Trello or things like it are like post-it notes that are shareable. It's very nice for managing just some things in your games or your bigger projects. So everyone sees the cards, and you can just check a card and see like what progress was made, who's working on it, stuff like that. So just a very good way to compartmentalize tasks that are being handled.
If I was working with like a team of people, I'd use probably Trello, like because you can assign tasks, you can pick up tasks, like it's nice. But like it's just me working on like smaller projects, so I'm like, definitely. I've been using like pieces of paper here, like a bunch of like little scrap papers, and I was like, man, I should just use the computer for this.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something very good though that feels good about like having like a piece of paper and a pen. I'm just like crossing shit out of a physical list.
Yes, sir.
There's something very kinetic. I don't know. Like I tried it on this Focal Board. It didn't quite give me that same visceral feeling of just like
like Light from Death Note, and just
eliminate that task.
Exactly. Yeah, dude. Let's the little time we got left, let's get into some of the news that's happening, man. So at the time of this episode being published, the Xbox showcase will have started. So before I want to talk about the Apple VR stuff, but do you have any thing that you're looking forward to seeing more about on the Xbox showcase? And right after that, they're doing a full like hour on just Starfield, Bethesda's new IP.
I'm a little bit excited because what Xbox has been doing is like only shit that's going to ship this year, things that are complete. Like that was at least like their last thing that they did.
So many games came out as like only on Game Pass and available now, just random shit. So
I appreciate that. I think like getting away from that like coming soon thing that a lot of other places have done, are like traditionally it's been like an E3 where it's like, oh, this is like a pre-announcement announcement, and it's like I don't give a shit about like what's going to be out in like 2 years, dude. Like I don't even know if like the buyers who are going to E3 cared about shit that was like coming out in like 2 years. I guess like pre-orders for like big box realtors is kind of like a big deal, but like I don't know if you're doing like 3 years out or 2 years, like you're more of like quarterly. I know you could do like whatever it's called, the intent to purchase slips, which can be used as good as cash for like creditors and stuff. So you can be like get a bigger credit line for whatever you're doing, like as a publisher or a game developer. You might be like, oh, I have like 20 receipts of people who have interest to buy in this many units, and then like you can show that to a bank on a statement, and it's like almost as good as cash. Especially when it's like a big box place. You can be like, this huge corporation has intent to buy, and like it's nothing. It's just, it means nothing. They don't have to buy or everything else, but like banks care about that shit. So like I could see the value in it for that reason. But I think like most normies who like look at games being like presented, you're like, why do I care about this game that's going to be on 3 years? Is there any like real hype for it? It sets expectations way too high. So I appreciate that Xbox has just been like, this is what's coming out in the next 6 months. This is what's already coming out today. This is going to be on. I know they've been pushing Game Pass pretty hard, and it's all right. Have you been using it? Do you have Game Pass?
I do. I've had Game Pass since it launched, really.
Yeah.
And I got to play like a lot of the exclusive, like High on Life, um, what's that? Wulong, which I actually really
Mhm.
enjoyed. Um, let's see. Oh yeah, that's how I initially played Psychonauts 2, which was one of my games of the year. Was like
Yeah.
last year. So, yeah, it's been good. People are all like most of the games on there suck. I'm like, yeah, but if you look, it has all the AAA games too. So if you wanted to play, like, which you probably already own or already played, but if you really think about it, you don't have to do that now. Oh, Forza
Yeah.
Horizon 5, played the shit out of that on Game Pass as well. So,
Yeah.
which we tried to link up at one point on that, but it just never happened. But yeah,
Yeah, man.
so I think today, for me, I'm hoping to see some concrete things in the new Perfect Dark reboot. I'm very curious on what route they're going to take because, as we've mentioned on the podcast, I think Halo has run its course, in the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Just Microsoft's
Even
mishandling of it, 343 mishandling it. I think that, it left a bad taste, and I think
see
that
they announced a
nostalgia.
marathon.
Yeah.
You excited at all for a marathon reboot?
I am actually. That's like the one thing on that Sony, State of Play thing that came out where that like floored me, with attention.
You're just like, all right.
Famously, I absolutely love the Marathon series as Bungie's first, FPS trilogy. Very similar to Halo. A lot of, stuff that happens in Halo happened in Marathon first. Durandal was like the main rogue AI in Marathon, which, it's very interesting. So what they're doing with the new Marathon, and I'm getting off track, but I'll just mention it real quick, is it's going to be a, extraction shooter, much like Tarkov or the Cycle
Oh.
or things like that, with, 3-man squads, going in. So it'll be PvP, PvE. I think with Bungie's, knack for a very kinetic gameplay loop, that, this could be really big for the extraction shooters genre. So I'm waiting patiently for Marathon. There's going to be an open beta, I believe, very soon, like towards the end of summer, I believe. So I think Marathon could be like, the next big thing.
Yeah.
We'll see. But, as far as like Microsoft's end, uh, Perfect Dark, I think they've tried to piggyback on it and use it as like the launching point in the next big FPS franchise on the 360 era, and Perfect Dark Zero just wasn't it. But this
Yeah.
time it
What's up
seems
with that,
like
dude? Were you ever into Perfect Dark?
the first game. I really liked the single player in the
I
first
was
game.
just GoldenEye. It felt like to me like people were like, I'm either playing this GoldenEye multiplayer or we're playing Perfect Dark. And I don't did Perfect Dark have multiplayer even?
Yeah. Perfect
Yeah,
Dark
it just
was the same as GoldenEye, but with more weapons, more
yeah, it
maps.
just
Yeah.
felt like it's too complicated for most people. I felt like most people just want GoldenEye, dude.
Yeah, but it's because like Perfect Dark had like guns that could like literally had wall hacks and shit, and so I mean, it's a little rough. But for
Yeah.
people who like mastered GoldenEye, Perfect Dark was the game. But that
Wow.
being said, no game from that era outside of like Medal of Honor, which really had its major resurgence in like the mid 2000s. But it was initially launched like 98, 99 on the
Do you
PlayStation.
remember
Um,
Operation Winback, bro?
oh hell yeah, dude!
Did they
Operation
ever
Windback was
reboot
great.
that game?
I wish that'd be great.
Yeah,
Remember the
that was like a
multiplayer in
solid.
that like was
Yeah.
broken though. I like at first, but it was fun when it worked.
Heck
But
yeah.
yeah,
What was that
Operation
other
Windback.
game? Is it Time Splitters?
Time Splitters is Time Splitters 3 is apparently in development. Free
All
Radical
right, because
V4.
that game I know a lot of people
I'm sorry, Time
fucking
Splitters
love
4. Time Splitters 4. Yeah,
love Time Splitters, dude. That
100%.
was
Yeah, Time
if we're
Splitters is a
talking about
game
like
that.
old school like reboots or shooters that people enjoyed kind of. I know like Turok Dinosaur Hunter, dude, that had some really fun multiplayer as well. I know
I
like
never played
a lot,
multiplayer. I only played single player for that. But
yeah, I think like a lot of people hated like the single player aspect of like because the game plot started becoming so convoluted every game that they made. Like by the time the last game happened, like it didn't even make any sense. It became like cartoony madness, and not in a good way.
yeah,
The
it
same thing
happens.
kind of happened with Dino Crisis as well.
Oh, Dino Crisis, the third game, you were in space with space
Yeah,
dinosaurs with the dumbest
I'm
fucking
all
shit. You
for
had
that, dude.
jetpacks
Like,
and stuff.
I think like they could have gotten away with it too if it hadn't have been for those shitty camera angles, dude. Like their camera system was just trash, dude. But I
It
think
was
like the
trash.
concept of dinosaurs in space, like this, I feel like that's the campy nonsense people are here for, you know?
Okay. Okay, I can see that. But yeah, man, I think I'm looking forward to Perfect Dark, and to see kind of what's going on with Avowed, and what and they always announce something that's like out of left field but interesting. I know Forza Motorsport, like instead of Horizon, they're on the regular Forza series now. I know that's going to be announced, and they'll probably do like a nice big showcase on that. Which I've been contemplating getting a racing wheel for a while, but Horizon kind of wasn't it. I kind of want to play it on like on just tracks. So Forza Motorsport would be it.
Just a little pro tip that's probably not such a pro tip, but like every Christmas those fucking racing wheels go on sale, like the nice ones.
Yeah,
like the $180 like Logitech ones go on sale for like $90 for like the full kit, and you're like, damn. Yeah. Nice. And every year I look at it, I'm like, I should buy this.
Yeah,
it's usually $200.
When we talked about it like this past year, I was thinking about it. You like put the seed in my head, dude. So now I've been looking at wheels and stuff. Like, what the fuck am I doing? I don't even play racing games like that. But
you could, dude. Imagine Forza. You put it on your HTC Vive. You have it streaming from your PC, dude. And you're just in the cockpit living, dude.
That's true. But yeah, man. What about you? Anything that you're kind of looking forward to from the Microsoft Showcase? If anything,
if we're just talking about kind of like recent announcements. Wasn't there like a new Resident Evil game? Did they announce that? It was like Matt Mercer and like Jill Valentine, like chilling.
That was Matt Mercer. That
was they put it like in the trailer for it. It's like Matt Mercer. I'm like, why you put this voice actor's name out? Like, he's not a character in Resident Evil, dude.
That was in this PlayStation stuff. That was in the So Resident Evil.
Is Matt Mercer going to be a playable character?
Has like a VR mode that's coming for PSVR 2. What else? Yeah, there's a new movie that's coming.
Horde of zombies coming ahead of you. Roll for initiative.
So Resident Evil. Okay, got it.
Yeah. I thought that was. I watched that like trailer and I was like, it looked fine. I don't know. It was like Escape from Alcatraz map.
Yeah, that's the movie you're talking about. Yeah. So it's basically Resident Evil All Stars. All of the main characters are like going on like an island vacation, and obviously zombies happen. So
they can't get away from them.
Yeah. So you have Chris Redfield, Claire Redfield, Jill Valentine, Leon Kennedy, all in one money making video. Oh yeah, and Rebecca Chambers as well from Resident Evil Zero, who never gets.
I feel like they just stopped coming up with characters after PlayStation 2. They're just like, fuck it, this is it.
Yeah, which is fine though. I mean, I like personally, I'd like Cheva Alomar to come back. I thought she was a fantastic character in Resident Evil 5. Capcom actually had a survey saying which Resident Evil would you like to be remade next. Everyone seems to think that 5 will be the next remake, but for me, man, I want them to do fucking Code Veronica.
Yeah, dude.
Right?
Read my mind, dude. I was like, what about Code Veronica? I feel like gets slept on a little bit.
5 came out like a decade ago. It's new enough, How are they going to redo like the co-op if they do co-op? Like, there's so many questions with that. It's like, how about you like keep that on the back burner? But until then, get motherfucking Code Veronica up to speed, and then we're good.
Yeah. I felt Code Veronica kind of had like a unfair shake of when it came out too. It was like right when the consoles switched up to.
Yep.
It's like a Dreamcast exclusive, which is a dead count.
And then came out for the PS2 much later, and then got like a multi-platform release way later, which is way past the game's like initial life cycle. So it was just for fans,
like story wise and everything else.
So I feel like Code Veronica, which if those who don't know, Code Veronica is the true Resident Evil 3. So I feel like a lot of people get like lost in the story. Like Resident Evil 3 that we got is.
I don't blame this story. The story's so convoluted of Resident Evil.
It wasn't convoluted at that point though.
It was pretty straightforward.
It was straightforward, and
I remember
after Code Veronica gets convoluted.
The guy at the game store gave me the little DVD which explains the story to the workers there. So the Capcom like gave out disc so people could get caught up to like know the lore. I don't know, it was all right.
Yeah, but yeah, man, Code Veronica. Let's do it, Capcom. But yeah, man.
If people want 5, give them what they want. As far as like Xbox, like that's what I'm most excited about is just like their commitment to deliverables, and like I don't know, it also kind of works like if you're not putting out product on store shelves too.
True.
Like that was because if they're just like, oh, it's coming right to Game Pass, you can just be like, and it's out like in this 6 months or this. Sure. Whereas like if you have to work with like big box realtors, like you need more leeway. You need to like build up hype so people actually go to the store to get product.
Definitely.
It's a changing world, man. I don't know. Dude, and I know Microsoft has bought up a bunch of developers too, so it's like it's such a roll of the dice of like what the fuck's even going to be there.
Like, shut up, right? I'm guessing we're going to see some more stuff on Hellblade 2 today as well.
All right. Hellblade's all right. I don't know. They do a very good cinematic experience. It's just never really been for me. I don't really like the concept
thing.
Yeah. I don't like games that like fucking whisper in your ear. Like that shit annoys me. Like I have really good fucking hearing, dude. Okay. Like even like the game I put out where like I put out games and like I usually set the volume to like 50 to like 30% of like the max volume for games I even make. And you're like, man, this is kind of quiet. And I'm like, bro, it's a lot of shit to me. Like, so I don't like games where it's like people are like whispering or talking in your ear and like just fucking with you. Like it's just, I don't know. Like it's loud as shit. It's not even whispers to me. I'm like, God damn, dude. You shut the fuck up. I'm trying to play a game, dude. It'd be like having like somebody like an annoying little brother in your room, but if they only like spoke gibberish, like this isn't scary. It's just fucking annoying to me. Like I don't know. Funny. And that's a me thing, dude. I know like a lot of people love that game and the franchise and the psychological aspects of it. Graphically, it's like an amazing looking game.
Beautiful. So, yeah.
No complaints. I see why it's people are looking forward to it. You know.
Yeah. So getting to the final topic today, and then we'll
does Microsoft have any big tadpoles left?
No.
I mean, they're trying, Forza. Right? What? Yeah, Forza.
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of
Gears, kind of, but they really shit the bed the last couple of years with it. It seems like it's past its prime.
It's looking a little long in the tooth, like the style of gameplay. Like, it's I don't know how you could bring it to like modern times. I feel like everything's moved on more towards like an arcade-esque shooter. Whereas like that game was kind of like it was like the fighting game of shooters, dude. Whereas like it was a series of block parries, movements, and like using the environment to close in on opponents to like slice them up. Like they're big.
It's the only game doing the cover shooter shit still, and
I don't know. It's all right. And like the horde mode, people love that, but like even that's gotten worse over time somehow. Like man, it's they're big tentpoles like Gears. Halo, what was the one that we were just talking about? The lady,
Perfect
Dark, dude. I don't even, it doesn't roll off the tongue. Not really memorable, and they haven't like really done anything with it in years as well. Oh, Banjo Kazooie could be huge for them. Like if they do like
if they actually did something with it, yeah.
Don't they own like all of Rare? Like
they do.
There's some bangers in Rare, dude. Those are some big tadpoles. I feel like for the old folks, especially if you're just going right to Game Pass. I know like the new Mario has set the bar fucking extremely high. If you talk about like Street Fighter, setting like the fighting game standards, dude, like Mario set like the platforming standards to like another level, like collectathons, dude. Like, yeah, man, you gotta bring. You can't just be like, oh yeah, you guys just work on this thing for.
You gotta bring your shit.
You can't just like. I feel like they learned that with like a ukulele when they brought that game out. And people are like, this is all right, but it doesn't have like all these modern features, and they're like, we made a throwback game, bro. Like, I don't know what you want. They're like, we want the
ukulele sequel was fantastic though. Without getting too over here, we're a little over our time, but Apple has announced a VR headset. It's $3,000.
It's as much as a car, like a used car, dude.
Yeah, right. It's now the most expensive. It's not even meant to compete with like the Varia Neo or any.
It's its own
like,
thing,
super high end headsets that are like $5K or something. It's like such a weird price point to jump in at. What are your thoughts on this? Do you welcome more like competition in the VR space? Or do you think that Apple's wasting their time, or what's up?
It looks like a waste of time. Like I don't know. It looks like it's supposed to create like better productivity and interface with like Apple products. But like again, man, like we always go back to like the Minority Report, like throwing your hands in the air and shit. Like people don't want to fucking do that, dude. Like you think you do. Like there's like an actual physical condition. I think it's called like gorilla arms. If like you're throwing your arms up in the air for too long, like it'll fuck up your arms, dude. I don't know. They did like kind of like that cool thing with like the gestures of like how like they're like using their fingers like a point and click, almost like a joystick in the air, and like that was pretty dope. I don't like the eyeball LCD overlay for like the face, like this kind of dystopian and creepy. I don't think they needed to do that. I don't know. I don't know who the product is for. Like I think it's maybe geared towards like businesses, but I know like Pet is already kind of entrenched in that space now, but I don't know. And like I don't know how much of an outline moat Apple has in that space. I know like Microsoft's really like the king of like, corporate business to business software. So if they're not like doing anything big with like VR in that space, like I feel like most people, like most businesses don't give a fuck because they don't want to like try and transition over or like bring their workflows over. Yep. And like Meta's run into that problem with their prosumer thing. And
HTC is probably outside of Meta is the leader in the business class VR.
Especially like industrial stuff.
Yeah, and no one sees a point to upgrade. That's like one of their biggest problems. Is like they're like, okay, this shit is working fine.
Maybe if they, I don't know if you watched the NVIDIA presentation, but they have like their Omniverse thing where they can simulate environments, industrial environments for like warehouses and stuff for like collaborative efforts. Maybe if there's like some kind of plugin for that workflow, that would be dope. But I don't like, it's like architecture, like, industrial training stuff. There's a wide swath of applications that I don't know enough about, like Apple's side of like how many people are using like Apple. I know like in graphic design stuff, it's been big there, but like most people just want to like be able to draw and shit. And like, I don't know, like we built like good tools for how we already interface with the world. So like I said, man, I've messed around with like the Adobe like VR sculpting tool that's like in Meta, and like it's fun. It's really good.
Blender's tool for doing the VR sculpting works really well as well. So
so the tools are cool. Like
it seems like this is like the one headset announcement that didn't move the needle for me at all. I'm like, why? That's the biggest question. I don't get it. Even like the dedicated VR outlets that cover this shit, they're trying to make it a big deal, but then you like watch like a full review of it or like a preview of it, and they have no fucking care. I feel it's going to be dropped by Apple within the next year and a half, and it's just going to be an R&D failure, and they just had to pump it out, and the people who are left holding the bag,
it's going to be the Google Glass.
Google Glass, but for Apple. And I mean, it's not like Apple hasn't had failed product launches before. Like there's been a few.
It's going to be a Microsoft Zoom all over again.
Exactly. But yeah, man, that's where we are.
I will say one thing that they do have going for it is they do have a wall garden. They do control like,
they already do. Yep.
So like if they want to shift you into making a great end user experience in VR throughout all of their applications on your phone, on your desktop, on your, tablet, they have the ability to do that. Like I see no reason why they couldn't just be like, oh, now you can stream like applications directly from your iPad directly onto this, and it works seamlessly, and it's great, and it's amazing, and it's better than you could ever hope for with like tactile now, touch applications for like, now you can slice fruits in Fruit Ninja, reach out with a sword and do it, and it just works because like we have like the, augmented reality controls on the front end that we just implemented across all iOS store front stuff. So I don't know. So they do have that, I'm sure. How long till their Beat Saber clone, dude? Do they even try?
40 minutes post launch. Yeah. Oh no, they'll probably just port it, honestly, because
I don't know, man. Meta owns it, dude. This is what the other thing Meta did was buy up all the developers. This is why there's kind of been a drought.
Meta owns it, but Meta likes money. They'll port it if they have.
They are bleeding money, dude. Like if they could, but they haven't really put out shit everywhere else, dude. Like
that's the thing.
They like money, but they want to win, dude. That was like the memo that came out. They're like, we're trying to win. They want to win VR, dude.
We'll see if any of their exclusives come to PC VR in the next couple of years, because I really want to play Asgard's Wrath 2.
Yeah, it should have already been a no-brainer, dude.
It's going to be a headset release, so I can't emulate it on anything. So I'm hoping it comes to Steam, but we'll see. But yeah, man, let's end it here.
The other big concern for developers with Apple stuff is like it doesn't use XR stuff. It's like its own little thing.
Yes, yeah, it's gonna.
And like everybody else kind of agreed on to use like XR, and they're like, "Bro, what are you doing?" Like you just, I don't know. So like,
Apple always has to be the fucking special jewel in the room,
it's fair.
Yeah. Let's all agree upon a standard. Apple comes in, and we're not using that. Well, fuck. Yeah.
We're not using Flash anymore, dude.
Yeah, exactly. But dude, I think that's where we'll end it, man. I think we're in for some some interesting stuff. Like I said, the summer's going to be awesome for gaming.
Yeah.
Some stuff that I want to talk about next week would have to do with the pending launch of the AEW wrestling game. There's some big sports game news, which I know people are all like, "Oh, sports games, let's not talk about it." But
see what happens with this Microsoft drop.
Important role in the gaming sphere, and I'll talk more about it next week. But for a little preview, little tease,
little taste.
But for this has been the Combo Wombo podcast.
It's been the longest exit ever. Chipmunk.
Yeah, we're out of here.
Like, share, subscribe. Fuck you.